Is NosTale worth playing in 2020? Let's take a few minutes and talk about that. So it has been a really long time since I last played NosTale. I think it's been like a year, maybe 2 years now. Either way, it has been way too long. Now, I have always heard that NosTale has a very active population, that after all of these years, the game is still very highly alive and kicking. The game is a little older than what I typically play after all, and I know for a fact, after having played Tales of Pirates and FlyFF for the longest time, that these kinds of games have a large time investment required. But that isn't bad. I just don't really have that long to dedicate to more than one, maybe two different games at any given time anymore. So I figured, you know what? How about I go ahead here, take the initiative, and message Gameforge, make them, I guess, like a little bit of a proposition. I wanted to do 2 videos for the game. I wanted to do one at an introductory level and one at a much higher level. Thus, I went ahead, I sent them an email, I asked if they would be willing to sponsor a playthrough by providing Mrs. Sticks and I both 2 high-level characters. That way, we could do 2 different videos from 2 different perspectives, showcasing 2 different stages of the game. Thankfully, they agreed. Yeah, and well, here we are, part 1. So, NosTale is a free-to-play anime-inspired MMORPG released back in 2006. Yeah, no kidding, the game was released back in 2006. It has been online now for over 14 years and is still played by quite a significant portion of players. Now, the game itself actually employs systems that you might not really be all that familiar with if you haven't played games from that generation. Movement is controlled by clicking, as opposed to moving with the more traditional WAS and D keys. Not only that, but combat is, well, okay, I want to go ahead and say that tab target because it's probably the closest thing that you can compare it to, but it isn't tab target. Instead, you're kind of required to hover over the enemy with your mouse and click to attack. Like most MMOs, you also have skills that you could cycle through with whatever you keybind them to. Honestly, I do plan on expanding on the skill aspect and even more so the class aspect of the game when I actually gain more access to them in the follow-up video. Accompanying you into battle is your trusty slave? I don't know, I kind of want to say pet, but at the same time, you literally go about capturing these things by literally just beating them half to holy crap. Well, you know, like essentially what just happened there with my microphone. So you're essentially mentally and physically abusing them into submission. That is the definition of a slave. Those poor creatures are slaves. They can't do anything about it, and they are forced to do our bidding. From what I gathered, there are actually plenty of different creatures that you can collect. It's almost like a Pokemon game in that aspect. We started off with chickens and ended up with sheep, but you know, Mrs. Sticks wanted to catch literally everything she could. You're only capable of capturing monsters of lower level than you though, and we didn't really come across much of those. I will admit that monster levels increase by area quite substantially. Right, on that note, the world is actually segregated. It is not open world. Instead, having players take place within kind of like a zone like you'd find in Final Fantasy XIV or Blade and Soul. Each zone has their own suggested levels along with monster levels and quests associated with them. Then there are these instanced missions, which are kind of like little small instances that you can enter either with other players or solo. They're multi-roomed, having waves of enemies that you have to defeat before the timer runs out. But that isn't all. We made it to one point that stated we could actually begin a raid by initiating the instanced mission queue. But I mean, we were too low level for that, and even if we were high enough level, I cannot say that there would be anyone within our immediate level range that would even want to party with us. The instances themselves, though, give some pretty cool loot. We both got a headpiece and some glasses, and if you know Mrs. Sticks at all, you would know that she is a huge fashion addict. Any opportunity to customize your character and she's gonna jump at it. Honestly, we only made it to, I don't know, like around level 12, level 13, but that was because we wanted to run around and explore as opposed to just pursuing the main story. I just wanted to see how the combat was, I wanted to see the graphical style and get kind of like a gauge of the general difficulty of the game. And I can safely say, this game is incredibly difficult. It does not hold your hand. It doesn't provide you like quest markers or give you any kind of direction as to what you're supposed to be doing. This requires you actually pay attention to what's going on. And while yes, at times we did have like a little arrow that would direction us appropriately, most of the time we're left hovering over NPC names on the map trying to figure out where we were supposed to be going. This is something that is sorely missing in MMOs these days, and honestly, I do kind of miss it myself. But then again, I don't have the same time I used to just wander around aimlessly, so I still like being told where I need to go. Overall, the game is difficult. Monsters almost killed us both several times, but exploring around and running these instances for both gear and cosmetic items, even in the low, like level 1 to 15 areas, was interesting. I'm honestly curious to see how later game looks, especially since we'll get to see all the other players actively participating in content, but that's just my opinion, my first impressions of the game's introductory levels. What do you guys think though? Does this look like something you'd be interested in? Let me know down in the comments below and let's talk about it. Anyway guys, that is it for me. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. I'll see you all next time.
Someday soon, I'm gonna make it.